And just like that, I'm back with chapters 7 and 8. And my house is all picked up and my kitchen is clean. It's a good evening. Chapter 7. Lord Emperor Aurelius. March, the centurion ordered. He pointed toward the back gate. With the centurion leading them, horsemen on either side, Jack and Annie started down the road. The midday sun still shone brightly, but the wind had picked up. Jack shivered from the cold and from fear. He'd read about Roman emperors. Some were ruthless and cruel. Some were truly insane. All of them got rid of their enemies, one way or another. I wish we could find our guy on the black horse, Jack said in a low voice to Annie, before they find him. I'm sure he wasn't a spy. Me too, said Jack, but who was he? And where did he go? Quiet, yelled the horseman. The centurion led them through the black gate. They stepped out onto the training field. Oh man, whispered Jack. On the field, the whole legion stood in parade formation. 6,000 armored warriors were lined up in perfect rows. The warriors were still as statues. Each held a red and gold shield with his left hand and a spear with his right. Trumpeters stood near the head of the parade. In front of them was a warrior carrying the Legion red flag. In front of him was a man carrying a pole with a statue of a gold eagle on top. To the imperial tent, the centurion ordered Jack and Annie. He pointed to a large red tent on the far side of the field. A cluster of guards stood around the entrance. Double time, the centurion said. As Jack and Annie hurried toward the tent, Jack grew even more scared. Annie seemed scared too. Have you read much about Roman emperors? She asked Jack. A little, said Jack. What did you learn? Said Annie. They're okay, said Jack. Don't worry. I'm not worried, said Annie. I know we'll be fine. Right, said Jack. Annie never gives up hope, he thought. He liked that. When they reached the entrance of the tent, the centurion dismounted. We have come to see the emperor, he said to the guards. We have captured 2 spies. Yes, your messenger told us, said the guard. He is with the emperor now. You may enter. The guard pulled back the flap of the red tent. The centurion led Jack and Annie inside. It was warm inside the tent. A fire was burning in the small iron stove. Tall candles cast shadows on the silk curtains and woven carpets. Statues and maps were everywhere. The messenger Zeno stood at attention. Near him, a man sat on a heavy wooden chair set on a platform. He wore a huge purple cloak with a gold clasp on his shoulder. His light brown hair and beard were curly. The centurion bowed before the man. My lord, Emperor Aurelius, he said. Hail, Janus. I'm just making sure I got it right. It's Janus. Janus. Janus, said the emperor. Sorry, just making sure I got it. Our camp has been invaded by spies, my lord, said the centurion. I have captured these 2, and I believe there is a third hiding among us. Yes, the messenger you sent has warned me. The emperor said. He narrowed his eyes and looked at Jack and Annie. His pierced gaze reminded Jack of something. Was it a golden eagle on the lamppost at dawn? Was it the golden eagle on the lamppost at dawn? I'm sorry, my lord Aurelius, stammered Jack. We'd like to explain. Before Jack could go on, Annie burst out laughing. Oh, wow, she said. What? Said Jack. I can't believe it, said Annie. She gave the emperor a big grin. Hail, friend. Has Annie lost her mind? Jack wondered. Stop, what's wrong with you? He whispered. Don't you get it? She said. Get what? It's him, said Annie. He's our guy. He's the rider on the black horse. He's not a spy. He's the emperor. Jack stared at the emperor. He couldn't remember what the rider had looked like. Most of his face had been covered by his helmet. Junius, you and Zeno may leave us now. There is no danger of spies in our camp, the emperor said. The centurion and the messenger looked confused, but they bowed and left the tent. The emperor looked at Jack and Annie. Hail, fellow scholars, he said. Are you lost? Chapter 8, The Silver Coin. Jack caught his breath. Emperor Aurelius was their guy. He couldn't believe it. No, not lost, said Annie, smiling. We were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. The armory, the armory, exclaimed Jack. So I hear, said the Emperor. When I first met you, I thought you might live nearby in Carnuntum. There's a lot of fun words in this book. Carnuntum. But now I do not think that is so. Where is your home? Frog Creek, Pennsylvania, said Annie. Beyond the Danube, said Jack. Where are your horses? The Emperor asked. We left them, on the other side of the river, said Jack. Yes, we walked across the ice, said Annie. But we're definitely not invaders or spies, said Jack quickly. I promise. We wanted to learn about the Roman legion just for our own sake. I believe you, said the Emperor. When I spoke with you on my ride, I knew you were honest and trustworthy. Do you ride alone every morning? Asked Annie. When I can, said the Emperor. I like to look closely at the world around me and think of my own thoughts. We like to look at the world too, said Annie, and write down our thoughts. And facts, said Jack. We tried to do that today when we wrote in our journals, said Annie. Ah, yes. What did you write? Asked the Emperor. I wrote about the weather, said Annie. I made notes about the Roman gods. I even wrote a poem about 2 of them. Really? I should very much like to hear it, said the Emperor. Sure, said Annie. She quoted from memory. The weapons of Mars are heavy to bear, but the peace of Pax is lighter than air. Oh, that's cute. The Emperor nodded. Lovely, he said. He looked at Jack. I wrote about the flag and the warriors' training, said Jack. And I wrote about making bread and swords. Tell him what you wrote about having a heart attack, Annie said, smiling. Oh, I was a little nervous, said Jack, and I wanted to make my sister laugh. The Emperor nodded. So you both write honestly, with poetry and humor, and you study the world closely. We try, said Annie. Those are useful and honorable qualities, said the Emperor. You are simple, brave, and honest. With training, you could be excellent warriors. Not me, said Annie. I don't like to fight. Sometimes one must fight for the right things, said the Emperor. Like what? Said Jack. Freedom and justice, said the Emperor. Truth. Are you ever scared? Asked Jack. Oh, yes, said the Emperor. But if I look deep within myself, I often find a hidden source of strength. That makes sense, said Annie. If I pretend to be a very brave person, I suddenly find that I am one, said the Emperor. That makes sense too, said Jack. I felt brave for a moment when I put on a warrior mask, when I put on the warrior armor. In life, we wear many disguises, said the Emperor. I sometimes feel I wear a disguise of a powerful emperor. Annie gasped. Disguise! She whispered to Jack. Hero in disguise! Silver coin! Oh, man, yes, breathed Jack. Jack, he took out the black coin. We wanted to give this to you, he said, handing the coin to the Emperor. We think it's made of silver, said Annie. The Emperor looked at the coin. He crossed to the table with jars and poured some liquid into the cloth. Then he rubbed the coin and polished it. Soon the silver shone brightly. The Emperor held the coin close to the lantern and studied it. He turned to Jack and Annie with a look of amazement. Where did you get this? He asked. We found it in some woods, said Annie. Which is true. Why, is there something wrong with it? Said Jack. This coin is in honor of me, said the Emperor. Its engraving shows me as my warriors on a frozen river. It looks as if we have had a great victory on the Danube. You don't remember? Said Jack, confused. I do not, said the Emperor in a hushed voice, because this battle has not yet happened. Look at the date. He handed the coin to Jack. Jack and Annie studied the Roman numerals. It says 173, said Jack. Indeed it does, said the Emperor, but we are now in year 172. Oh, said Annie. Well, that doesn't make sense. No, unless, the Emperor looked at Jack and Annie with a golden eagle gaze, it is a coin from the future. That is the end of chapter 8. I have one more chore to do, and then we will be finishing up these books. I have to clean the bathroom. Not fun, but I will be back, and then my whole house will be clean, and we will have another story read, and it will be awesome. I will be back.